I saw you in your speech that you gave yesterday here in Tennessee, saying that like there's all kinds of temptation to cheat if you know you're not going to get caught.
Yeah. That's true in every system.
Yeah. Have you seen a lot of that? Like,
I mean, the amyloid plaque is a really good example. Yeah, we see it everywhere. We see it everywhere. In medicine, it's everywhere. And the journals are utterly corrupt because they're owned by the pharmaceutical companies. And so people read a journal and they think, oh, this is science. But even, Marcia Engel, the one that ran the New England Journal of Medicine for 20 years, has said, you can't believe anything in the journals anymore. But they're just propaganda vessels for the pharmaceutical company. Richard Horton, who ran Lancet, who still runs it, says the same thing. Wow. At the journals have been
And those
corrupt.
are the people running them?
Well, what happens, they make huge amounts of money.
Yeah.
And they make money from advertising, which is paid for the pharmaceutical companies. And through a scheme called preprints, where the pharmaceutical company plants a story, they pay for the journal about a drug that they're trying to promote. They pay the journal to print the story. And then they get a preprint, so it's a very neat-looking, copy of their article with the cover sheet of the New England Journal of Medicine on it. And then they distribute that to their pharmaceutical reps who are like, former Playboy models who go out and talk to the doctors, and they give that to the doctor and say, this drug works, do you want to have lunch?
Yeah.
And the doctors then start prescribing the drug, and they think, oh, well, it's legitimate because it was in the New England Journal of Medicine, but it is not. It's, you can't believe what's in those journals because it's all propaganda for pharma.
So how do we get away from that? Like, what are you guys doing to combat this or to change this? Or can this change? Or is it just awareness and then people have to take the responsibility?
No, I mean, what we're doing is open source journals. We're going to have our own journals that people can open source and publish, but you'll have the peer review published with it. So before you publish, you give that publication to a panel of experts who then read it themselves and criticize it. And the peer review now is secret. And then there's no raw data published, so nobody can go in and replicate it. So to the extent possible, sometimes you can't. You have to buy the raw data, and it's very expensive or inaccessible, so you can't publish it. But you can publish the peer review, which is what we're doing. And so everybody will be able to say, if they have 10 peer reviewers and they all say this article sucks, it's got all these holes in it, then the public will be able to read that, and doctors will be able to read it, and the regulators will be able to read it. And so it's basically open source. It's, with crowdsourcing, essentially. And that's how you get credibility in science. Science doesn't come from consensus. It comes from debate. And, that's why you remember when they were telling us during COVID, oh, trust the experts. Mm-hmm. Well, that's not a thing in science. Trusting the experts is the opposite of science. It's not a function of science or democracy. It's a feature of religion, and it's a feature of totalitarianism. But in science, you always question the expert.
Yeah, you can't. There's not an expert in science because it's like an evolving thing, right?
Well, when I did the Monsanto cases, I was part of a big team. We had, and Cheryl came to my trial. A couple of days she sat through and watched us try the case. And Monsanto had experts from Stanford, Yale, and Harvard. They're three big experts. And they testified. And Cheryl said to me at the end of the second day, she said, why are you guys even here? These guys are, this science is very clear that that Roundup doesn't cause cancer. And I said, just wait. And then our experts went on, and they were from Harvard, Stanford, and Yale. And they said the opposite and were much more convincing, and the juries were convinced. And so there's experts on both sides of every debate. And a lot of them are paid to be experts. They're hired guns. They're mercenaries.